The Ford F-150 has been America's best-selling model for nearly 5 decades, and that's for a reason. This pickup has always been a leader, whether it's about performance or implementation of new technologies. But does that make it flawless? Not at all, because there are at least 7 things that Ford F-150 owners are not thrilled about. Buckle up because the countdown starts now. Number 7. Engine issues. Among other qualities, pickups are a kind of vehicle made for durability and reliability. Therefore, it's not a surprise that most car makers still use older generation engines in their pickups. Ram still relies on ancient Hemi units, while Chevy also uses old naturally aspirated V8 engines. On the other hand, Ford has always been the segment leader, not just in terms of sales numbers, but also in terms of implementation of new technologies. Ford was the first company that started with downsizing in the pickup segment. It has expected that came with a cost. But what's interesting is that the EcoBoost units aren't the only ones that have reliability issues. The same is with the good old 5.0-liter V8 Coyote. Thankfully, the timing chain tensioner failure problems were solved long ago. But even today, there are numerous complaints about coolant leaks, mainly because of the bad design of the T-connector and upper radiator hose. As for the aforementioned EcoBoost units, we'll start with a 2.7-liter turbo V6, often regarded as one of the most problematic engines in Ford's lineup. Although it's been completely revamped a few years ago, it still suffers from a couple of issues, which may not be critical but definitely are very annoying. Some of the things that come to mind are leaking oil pans, coolant leaks, carbon buildup in intake valves, etc. Also, many users reported occasional check engine illuminating for no reason. The 3.5-liter EcoBoost, on the other hand, seems to have fewer issues, but it isn't without any faults. The timing chain issue was solved a long time ago, but troubles with sparks and the ignition system are still there, while occasional problems with the intercooler are also present. Finally, like most modern engines, this one also has problems with carbon buildup and intake valves. Another thing that F-150 owners aren't thrilled about is the stop-start system, which was introduced for all engines in 2018. Since then, we've been hearing a lot of complaints about rough restart, while others don't like the fact that this system, which is designed to improve fuel efficiency, can't be permanently disabled. Number 6. Trailer braking software. It's no secret that the Blue Oval Company has big problems with quality control. Only in 2022, there were 67 recalls that cost the company nearly $4 billion. Among them, one of the biggest was the trailer braking software recall that was issued for numerous pickups produced in 2021 and 2022. More than 400,000 pickups were recalled, and most of them were the F-150 models. The problem with the system comes from a software error, which causes the loss of trailer brake functionality. In many situations, the system doesn't brake at all, which extends the stopping distance, increasing the risk of a collision. Thankfully, the problem is easy to fix with a simple software update free of charge. Number 5. Interior quality. Times have changed, and pickups are no longer just utility vehicles focused on nothing but work. No, modern pickups are also comfort-oriented, so unless you pick some of the most basic versions, the cabin looks nothing but Spartan. Moreover, range-topping models look very luxurious, with cabins that can easily be compared with luxury SUVs. Leather upholstery, the latest tech and convenience features, and attractive aesthetics are just some of the things that come to mind. Logically, such pickups are not affordable at all. They could easily cost over $60,000, and for that money, customers expect their cabins to look fresh for a long time. Unfortunately, that's not the case with the most luxurious variants of the F-150. Despite the attractive design and soft-touch surfaces, the quality of some of these materials aren't good at all. That particularly refers to leather upholstery, which starts to show signs of use pretty quickly. The most notable are those in areas like seats, where creases and wrinkles tend to appear on bolstering parts at very low mileage. Other parts of the interior also tend to show signs of use pretty quickly, including the steering wheel, gear shifter, etc. But that's not the only problem customers have with the interior build quality. There's also the matter of sound insulation, which isn't on par with most rival models, especially the Ram 1500, which has been praised for its interior quality many times since the launch of the current generation in 2019. On the other hand, one of the things that F-150 owners don't like is the excessive road noise that comes from wheels, wind, passing vehicles, etc., especially at higher speeds. Number 4. Ride quality. The F-150 may have been innovative in many aspects of its design, but suspension definitely isn't among them. Instead, the world's best-selling pickup still relies on good old leaf springs. Just a decade ago, that wouldn't be an issue at all, but today? Well, many of today's pickups offer way more sophisticated rear suspension setups. Models like the Ram 1500 and Toyota Tundra feature multi-link rear suspension and offer superior driving experience. That is reflected in two ways. The first one is comfort, where, like any other pickups with leaf springs, the F-150 feels quite firm and doesn't deal very well with road imperfections. That particularly refers to situations when the cargo bed is empty, as then the truck tends to jump around on bumpy roads. The second aspect is handling. With such a suspension setup and not particularly precise steering, the F-150 isn't very engaging to drive, even by the standards of a full-size pickup. The Silverado 1500, for example, features a similar kind of suspension setup but feels much nicer to drive. The F-150 also feels a little bit bulky from the inside perspective and isn't the most maneuverable pickup around. Number 3. Transmission. Ford was the first one to introduce a 10-speed automatic transmission in its pickup to optimize fuel economy and offer even better performance, but that transmission showed weak points the moment it was introduced back in 2017. What's even more symptomatic is that the Blue Oval engineers haven't figured out how to fix many of those issues up to this day. The most common complaints we can hear about this transmission refer to gear slipping, harsh shifting, jerking, sudden acceleration or hesitation issues, and general loss of power. These complaints never stopped coming. Harsh jerks and strange noise when shifting are some of the most common complaints, but in some cases, issues were way more serious. For example, Ford recalled nearly 50,000 units produced in 2021 because the transmission was randomly shifting, first into neutral and then after stopping in the park. Most of these issues were affected by some kind of software error in the connection between the shifter and transmission, but the company never managed to solve this problem completely. Similar things trouble F-150 owners when it comes to the drivetrain, as switching between two-wheel drive and four-wheel drive can be rough and quite inconsistent in some cases. Number 2. Aluminum body panels. With the launch of the previous generation, Ford presented some quite revolutionary changes. It introduced a completely new design based on a new chassis made of aluminum and high-strength steel, and with body panels made completely of aluminum. Such a design approach brought significant weight savings. That model was nearly 700 pounds lighter than its predecessor, and at the same time, the truck was as rugged and capable as the previous generation. However, soon after the exploitation of the new model started, it became obvious that the new technology was far from flawless. The main problem with aluminum panels is that they're very difficult to work on because of the different properties of this metal. To straighten aluminum panels, you need to use different, more complex techniques compared to more conventional sheet metal, and logically, that leads to higher repair costs. Moreover, many repair shops don't even want to bother with these repairs, so it's not surprising that many owners decided not to do anything about dents on their pickups. Number 1. Prices. The F-150 is the world's best-selling pickup truck for many reasons, but price isn't one of them. Not anymore, because this pickup has become pretty expensive, especially if you want to get a model with a little bit more standard equipment. The base XL is still reasonably priced, with a sticker price of less than $36,000, but already the next model in the lineup, the XLT, costs nearly $44,000. Mid-range trim levels like the Lariat go deep into the full-size SUV territory with a starting price that goes way over $50,000. Moreover, this trim level also unlocks all kinds of packages and standalone options that can cost you a fortune. This leads us to the higher end of the F-150's offer. Models like the King Ranch and Platinum start over $65,000, while the most luxurious version, the F-150 Limited, costs nearly $85,000. You can buy a Lincoln Navigator for that money. Finally, let's not forget two off-road monsters, the Raptor and Raptor R. The former cost nearly $80,000, while the monstrous 700 horsepower Raptor R is officially the most expensive F-150 you can buy, with a starting price of almost $110,000. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.